This is The Stuff Dreams Are Made Of. I'm writer-collector Ryan Condal, and it's
And
Christmas time.
Oh, wait, but I didn't get to say who I am. And I'm... Wait, who am I? At gmail.com. And I'm writer-collector Dave Mandel. This is going to be our most half-assed Christmas show ever.
That's right.
But I did have an exciting idea. I thought you and I should do Secret Santa, just the two of us.
That's really good. Oh my God. That's exactly what I wanted.
Who do you think it's from? Hint, hint. It's me.
This episode, it's Podcasting for Dummies, the book you got me. This episode is...
That wasn't even a Secret Santa gift. That was just a business expense.
There you go. This is the dying hours of a bad company Christmas party. This is like hour 5 of it, and
it's just the two of us.
All the jello
everyone else
shots
has gone home.
Are gone, and we're into the schnapps that's been in the back of the cabinet for years, and it's not going to be pretty, folks. But we're happy to have you here at the end of 2022 on the Stuff
Merry
Dreams Are Made Of.
Christmas. Merry Christmas, damn it. Well, we like to start with a little bit of what's new in props, and I actually, for once, have something new in props that is not flood related.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was a good thing. I think we mentioned this. We mentioned on the show, gosh, a couple episodes back, that there was a Bonham's UK auction that was coming up, has now happened, that had a bunch of clappers and some other pieces from the cinematographer. Was it Adrian Biddle? Yes. A whole bunch of wonderful things from his collection. And we talked about a few of those, and I won by the skin of my teeth. I won the Aliens clapper, which I was very excited to win.
Oh, great.
Yeah, obviously Cameron's Aliens. Just really excited. Just I do like clappers, and one of these days we do have to do our clapper show, although now I can't talk about this, but we do have to do our clapper show.
You'll just have to buy another clapper, Dave.
I'll just have to. I have no choice but to buy another clapper. Yeah. Exactly. But I was really excited to get it. Well, I was really excited to win it. However, I do not have it. I have not been able to get it, and I am having just for Christmas a Dickens of a time with Julian's UK,
who polite Julian's swearing UK, you've ever done on this episode.
Bonham's
Dave.
UK, which is driving me insane. And basically, I won the piece. They had certain rules on using a credit card, so okay, fine. I have to wire money internationally
because the number is too high for a credit card.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I wired money from my business account, and they received it, at which point my business account, which has a different name on it, has my business name. They're like, oh, we can't take money from your business account unless, and it basically, like, they gave me this choice of like, you can fill out forms, like this many forms, and like send us like tax returns and proof, whatever. Because I guess they're just worried about international money laundering, that like I guess Russian mafia people are trying to corner the market in clappers. I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a thing in London where they're very worried about Russian money laundering, except when there's actual Russians
involved. Yeah, except in art auctions that Russians are bidding in,
right? Or any kind of real estate transaction or anything else where there's actual money laundering going on.
Or of course political donations. But anyway,
that is all totally fine here in the UK. But when you're one guy and you're just trying to buy a fucking clapper, that's a big problem for everybody. The anti-money laundering stuff out here is comical.
I've bought many things for many years from Bonham's. And so they gave me this just pain in the ass thing where my choices were crazy paperwork or, which I loved, they'll wire it back to me. First, they were like, why don't you wire us the money from another account and then we'll wire it back.
We'll sort it all out.
What are we talking about here? No, you send me my money back. I'll transfer it here in the US and I'll send it back to you. So I'm like, you do that. So
you launder the money for me,
right?
And then send it back to the US.
So they're sending it back, but I had to there were less forms, but I had to do that. And the 2 points that I want to make that are just both sort of funny and yet infuriating is, one, I give them the information. They basically say to me, well, we accepted the money and we converted it into pounds sterling. So now we have to convert it back to dollars and you're going to lose money, even though I've gotten nothing. All I've done is send money to London. It's been to London. I haven't been to London. I haven't been able to come and visit your set yet.
Yeah.
But my money gets to go to London and I lose money for nothing. So they're sending it back to me less. So this whole thing is going on. And ironically, in the interim, in the amount of time this has taken, I won.
Did they convert it into rubles for you?
They sent me the piece of a really shitty Leonardo da Vinci painting that wasn't painted by Leonardo da Vinci. So I don't know. I guess it worked out. I guess it's kind of okay. In the interim, I kid you not, I won a different auction at Bonham's, New York. I won a Doonesbury original by Gary Trudeau that I really liked. I guess part of my comic art collection. Really nice from the 70s. A piece of were you ever a Doonesbury person?
I mean, I know the comic.
Okay.
I mean,
Uncle Duke, Raoul Duke.
I didn't dislike it.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Raoul Duke talking to Henry Kissinger on the phone, and Henry Kissinger is very depressed, and Duke is like, "Did you take any of the drugs I mentioned?" And Kissinger goes, "Duke, those are all, it's all illegal. I can't, Duke, everything you told me to do was illegal. I can't do that." And Duke says, "So was the bombing of Cambodia." That's the punchline. And I just really, really liked it. And I bought that.
That's good.
But where I was
very
going
on theme
with
with your new show, Dave.
Yeah, very true, very true. The trailer of which came out this week.
Yeah, that was a really good teaser.
The teaser.
Yeah, I was into it. Yeah.
So, but where I was going with this is, I won this other thing in New York, and I've paid for it, and it's already been picked up. I mean, it's just it's absurd. It is just
that money was already laundered. Do you see?
Yeah,
that's
now
your
I
problem.
Understand. Yeah.
So but that one you did the same way with your corp account, but it wasn't an issue because it was in the U.S.
That one, I guess they let me actually just use a credit card because it was more money than the limits on the UK one, but it also wasn't. The whole thing was infuriating. I just, none of it was good. And now apparently there's some sort of file on me where I hired 2 Russian prostitutes to urinate on each other in a mattress or something. So I don't know what's happening, but it's all very Russian. Yeah, very, very Russian. So what's new in props? So I own a prop that I do not have in my possession and quite possibly may never see. I may just, can you just go pick it up, Ryan, and I'll come visit you and it? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I'd be happy to. I would love to have that clapper. I mean, the good news is, Dave, when eventually they film you with your peeing Russian prostitutes, you can very clearly mark the footage.
Yes. Action and urinate, girls.
With your so the editor, whoever that may be, will clearly be able to file the footage and
it'll be in sync.
Which take.
Sound and picture will be in sync, which is nice. So yes, what's new in props and what's new in what's new in grudges and gripes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
This for everyone watching or listening at home. This gives you a little sense of why Larry, David, and I have worked together very fondly together for many years. Yes,
that's right.
Yeah, it's not an accident, as they say. Yeah,
we're fewer than 7 minutes into this podcast, and Dave is already enraged. So it's a good start to the Christmas special. Dave's in the full holiday spirit already.
Bah humbug.
Well, good luck. I hope.
Thank you. I do hope I get this thing at some point.
I hope after you're crushed on the currency exchange, that you
honestly, as much as I obviously don't want to lose money, you just want there to be some sort of insane shift where I can at least get to call them up and go, "I've lost $5,000 because of you people," and it'll be a couple hundred, but it's still annoying.
Ironically. They end up laundering a bit of money there, right? Because doesn't that disappear?
Basically, yeah. They just basically did. I sent them money, and they kind of changed it again and sent it back in the name of not money,
right?
In the name of not money laundering. Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and they're the ones writing it off.
Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
How about you? What's new in props?
Well, I have a cheerier story, Dave.
Thank God.
Uh,
The yin to my yang. This is why we make great Secret Santas for each other. But go on.
That's right. That's right. There's gonna be less screaming on this side. Yeah, my Secret Santa to you, actually, Dave, was 4,329 pounds. That was my yeah.
Wait a second. That's the exact. Hold
Yeah.
on a minute.
Yeah. So Christmas miracles do happen, Dave. I as you might remember, in November I came up a big giant loser in the prop store auction.
You took it well. You were
Yeah.
I feel like you were disappointed, not heartbroken, but disappointed. That's where I sort of put you in the sort of grand category. I know you were bummed,
Yeah.
but I don't think you weren't heartbroken, but you definitely maybe baby regrets, little regrets of like maybe a touch higher, maybe kind of thing.
I think I was just sort of dispirited by the, the day, and I was tired, and maybe if I had been there live, so the quick recap of the story was that I went after the that awesome Roy Batty Blade Runner jacket. I honestly did not really expect to win that. I sort of knew at least one person that I was up against, and I didn't think that the paddle was ever going to go down there. So it was more of a hope versus I really think I'm going to get this. But then I had this sort of stupid thing where it's like, well, if I don't get that, at least I will probably be able to get the T2 jacket that I've always wanted, because I have this really nice T1 jacket, and the auction went so late, and I was sort of so dispirited by the other stuff that I just left them with an absentee bid. Essentially, I said, "Here's my top number. I'm going home." And the winning bid was one more than my top number.
Yeah.
So
the problem, if I may say, with leaving a top bid is it makes it the top bid.
Yeah. No.
Whereas,
I know. I mean, I really trust those. I really trust those guys.
No. I don't mean it like that. I mean, in the reality,
you can't.
You were on the phone. Your top bid goes out the window, and you bid 4 more bids or whatever it is. Yes, I guess that's all I meant. Yeah.
But there are other auction houses where
like
you do a thing like that.
I do wonder about it. Yeah.
And it is the underbid. Wow, that's really weird. It was the underbid. Yeah. So not in this case, but it was just you're right. You can't call an audible, so to speak, in the moment.
Right.
And like you,
although
have
you noticed
with the X-Wing and go $1 million
over my top
high
bid.
limit.
Yeah, I left a bid in for $7, and then I went up another $2 million.
Yeah.
Have you noticed this thing?
And the bad news is the currency changed in the meantime, so it's even worse than you thought.
That's very true. Very true.
Yeah.
That was a great low point. Have you noticed this thing though? Speaking of high, and I want to get to the rest of your story, but high bids, low bids. There's an interesting thing that goes on. I noticed it 100% on the Heritage website, but there's a couple of other websites that have it too. That you put in your top bid, but then there's another button that basically says, but in case your top bid gets hit, you go 1 or 2 more bids, whatever that number is, additionally, which really makes me laugh, because it is sort of my top bid isn't really my top bid. But
free spend.
But it's just funny to see it in button form. I guess they really came up with a way of, I feel like, creating buttons to not make you feel bad about your choices, which is to their credit. Like sort of buttons you kind of want to click, like, well, I put my top bid in, but I should hit this button that indicates go 1 or 2 more in a very, like, that's not a top bid, that's just 1 or 2 more than my top bid, but that's not a new top.
It's a casino move, right? It's like that would be a feature on some like pachinko table in the casino, where you're just like, you didn't really lose if you just throw in another $20. You can stay alive. And so I look, and I don't know, if I was there on the floor, would have been different. Anyway, I woke up the next morning, they were like, very sorry. I knew, because I opened my emails the next morning, and I didn't get the the invoice, essentially.
You got a thin envelope from the college of your choice, not a thick one.
Yes, exactly. And I was, I really did put in what I considered to be my top number.
You put in a very healthy number, and
Yeah, and I just had to. I won that little Raiders piece, the drawing. I had to just make peace with it. I had a good year. I got other things this year. It just wasn't my auction, so I just moved on. And then a few weeks later, uh, basically they reached out and were like, "Hey, do you still want the jacket?" And it wasn't a like refuse to buy or they can't contact the bidder. It was more of just like it was this interesting situation of like the guy who bought it, I think, is a fan of the podcast and knew that I was in after it and had bought a lot of stuff and was sort of feeling in the end that like, oh well, maybe you know I like the podcast and maybe Ryan would want to take this thing and I wouldn't mind, given the preponderance of other things that I won, I wouldn't mind, seeing it move on and maybe, this sort of thing. And I think this sort of stuff happens. Like, you get caught up in the frenzy of the day. And then, at the end, when you, when the invoice comes along, plus pound conversion, plus,
right.
Plus
VIG, plus, yeah, exactly.
Tax, VAT, all that. It becomes a thing. So it just became a conversation, and got to meet this really, really cool collector who I knew his name and knew him sort of around, but had never met him. So we got in contact and talked through. It was actually, a really nice thing, and sorted something out. I think that won for everybody, for him, certainly for me, for the auction house. Like it was all good. And it was I ended up with second chance. It was like It's a Wonderful Life, Dave. I got to
that's actually great. I will say to our other fans
live
listening,
in a reality where I won a T2 jacket.
No, I mean the T2 jacket is incredible. I was going to say to our other fans that are listening, you can just email us. You don't have to beat us in auction to talk to us. Just going to say, just pointing that out. Yeah, we're pretty accessible. Yeah,
cheaper for you, certainly cheaper for us.
Yes. Do not feel the need to outbid us to prove some sort of alpha dog fan thing, or I don't know what weird psycho fantasy this guy was living out. But all right, good, you got the thing. So
yeah. In the end, I was like, I bid
another Christmas miracle, by the way. Go on.
That's
sorry.
Yes, I bid against myself and I won.
Yeah.
Or I bid against myself and I lost.
You outbid yourself by one bid and then purchased it for a couple of more bids over your top. you hit the button.
I hit the button. Yes, that's right. I hit the gambler's button. But no, I mean, I think in the end, how it sorted out, I was happy with the final outcome and even the final number. Like, look, it's always better to get something for much cheaper, but I think in this case it was it's really the best one that I've ever seen.
It was an incredible piece, and I will simply say it sounds like the kind of thing where had you been on the phone, you probably would have gone to this number.
Right.
And he'd have outbid you and then sold it to you for a little more later. No, but you know what I mean? Like it wasn't a number out of the realm. It was, it was a little more than what you wanted originally. But yeah, it felt like, again, different time, different day. And again, it speaks to the T of Terminator where, had it just been earlier, you know what I mean?
Yeah. If it had been under 2 instead of T2. Maybe it should do that. Yeah.
Or every now and then they do this thing. You've seen this thing?
Maybe under James Cameron's The Terminator.
You ever notice in like the Writers Guild like awards and stuff where every year they sort of start the alphabet for the listings in a different spot, so it's not always A. Sometimes you like open it up and it starts with like L and it goes L to Z and then A to B. So every year, I think somebody else gets to be, because you get this big list of everybody that's like available.
So it's not always Abbott Elementary at the top.
Exactly. Or other episode of Abbott Elementary or third episode of Abbott Elementary.
Very good.
But no, I mean, it's always that, it's like, when we go through the catalogs and it's like, okay, got to get to S, got to get to S, got to get to S, got to get to S. And it's hard to think about anything before S, especially when there's big S items. It's easier when but it's always a little hard when something is so great in the A's and B's, unless it's a clear cut winner. I don't know. For me, I know. I think we talk about that a little bit. Yeah.
I like the way they sort the catalog, because I think with other auction houses that don't do it alphabetically, there becomes this whole like, well, well, I'm going to consign this, and what lot number am I going to be? And I don't want to be first up, but I also don't want to be at the end of the catalog. This way, it makes it very sort of they don't have to get into that, which I'm sure is a whole, that's weeks of
and
negotiating.
in those
or whatever.
other organizations where sometimes they're random, sometimes I don't know. I feel like some years they've done, or like didn't Profiles used to sort of do chronologically, kind of
Yes.
like, which, a cool movie from like the 70s or 80s would be sort of in a section, and I would just miss it because I wasn't somehow I turned a page too quickly and didn't think about it. Whereas alphabetically, you do get to everything.
It was sandwiched between other things. Yeah. I mean, the thing that I kind of wish that Prop Store would do, and I have pitched this to them, and they just sort of pat me on the head and say, why don't you start your own auction company? But I think every other auction would be cool if they just reverse the order. So start with Z and go, go to A and do it that way. And then Star Wars is first, is not first up, but in the earlier part of the day. And then, Aliens doesn't always get, these massive bids because maybe it's at the end of the auction and people have spent out on Terminator, and they, but I think they have their system, and they obviously
have their system, and also
they like the way it works.
In terms of them, I think Star Wars being S, and not the end of the day, but certainly the final quarter of the day, however you want to think about it,
over the course
of the
day.
You build to it, and they do kind of know going in that's going to be, there are going to be some of the more spectacular prices and things there, and there's something nice about that. I think the ramp up than if you okay, item number one, $2 million. Now what? Do you know what I mean? The rest of the day seems like a little bit of a, I don't know, anticlimax.
Right. And but there's, they always have fantastic stuff in that, ABC section too.
Yes. Nope. Very true.
Aliens and Batman and Blade Runner and Conan. I mean, there's always, there's great stuff. So anyway, I think it would be just fine, but what do I know, Dave?
No. But, and here's our segue. Speaking of stuff.
All right. Good one.
Yeah.
That's very
Tonight's
specific.
show is just about stuff. This is just about stuff. Right. Stuff we've got laying around that we're going to kind of like a white elephant Christmas. We're going to just wrap some shit up that has been laying around and give it to you, our audience, because we love you. There's just a bunch of things that are kind of like,
I'm going to have some coffee.
I've got mine going.
Christmas coffee.
I took a little nap. Today's the reverse, which is my night, your morning. I'm usually wide awake, but I was up at 8 a.m. doing ADR with an actor in Ireland. So I was up crazy early. So I was like, I'm going to take a little nap at 9 o'clock to be ready for this.
Or as other people call it, Dave, at a totally normal time.
No, it was obscene. Just obscene. I had actually said to them,
it's 6:30 in the morning right now, and
I said to them,
podcasting with you.
Right. I said to them, since he's in Ireland, by the way, I'm going to name drop. Fuck it. Wonderful actor, Donald Gleason, who I love, who plays John Dean in White House Plumbers, and obviously was General Hux, and I believe was also he was in I think pops into one of the Harry Potters as a brother of he's a Weasley brother. He's an older Weasley brother as well. And just I
was showing my daughters The Force Awakens at some point because they wanted to see the new Star Wars, and my eldest was very interested in seeing Rey, who's she's a girl, and she's a Jedi, and she's a lightsaber and all that. She was Rey for Halloween, so I showed them Force Awakens, and when Donald Gleason came on as General Hux screaming in his Nazi rant, she just very sweetly said, "That's the guy from Peter Rabbit." I was like, "That's right. He's much angrier here."
Yeah,
although maybe not.
Bit,
I mean, that guy got pretty enraged in Peter Rabbit because Peter Rabbit's a naughty little rabbit. But yes, a wonderful actor.
A very, very excellent guy. And anyway, so I had said, it's Ireland. And I basically pitched them this, which was, I said, he could do it early in his morning, and I could do it at midnight. That would be fine with me.
Yeah.
And I got the sense that it would have worked for me. It probably would have worked for him. None of the other people on the LA crew had any interest in that pitch. So yeah.
Well, that's the wonder of being a despotic showrunner, Dave, is you don't care because it works for you. And that's
unfortunately. But So speaking of stuff, where was I going with this? Wait a second. There was a grand point to all of this.
We were doing our white elephant unwrapping,
We're
or as
doing
they
our
do
white
in
elephant
here,
unwrapping.
they pass the parcel, which is
That's right.
do you know what that is? Have you ever seen
No,
that?
is that where you steal stuff, or is that a different one?
They did it at kids parties, and they like wrap this present like 100 times,
Okay.
so it passes around, and when the music stops, the kid
Oh, I
unwraps
like
the
that.
present.
I like that.
But if you get another layer of wrapping paper, you have to pass it on again. So
Right.
it's
Sure.
like whoever unwraps the final layer is the one who gets the parcel. So that's
And is it
another.
always a good gift too? Is that
Yeah,
the
it's like
plan?
that's the idea. Is it's like it's the big thing, but only one kid gets it and walks away. There was a very funny Bluey episode. I don't know. You probably
No,
not
that was
aware
a
of
little
Bluey.
after
It's
me.
it's actually really really good, and it's this Australian kids show, but it's like for adults and for kids, but it's cheeky humor. It's not like it's not like bathroom humor and whatever
Right.
else. It's like amusing things about being a parent for very young children. Anyway, if you have young kids, check out Bluey. It's on Disney Plus. It's amazing. But they did this whole episode on Pass the Parcel, and like all the kids just end up screaming and crying because they don't get they don't get the thing in the end. And there's this whole thing that they had adapted the program so that there's pass the parcel, and then all the kids get a gift, and then one of the parents is like, no, that's not how we did it as a kid. They need to be tough and need to learn. And then he institutes this thing, and it just creates absolute anarchy at the party because
just no one gets except the one kid. That's very funny.
Deal. So yes. But yes, this is our white elephant episode.
It's our white elephant episode. We got a lot of things laying around, which I guess is the main point. I did want to ask you one quick question, a Christmas question, which is, have you guys adapted, I guess I should say, adopted, I guess it's both a little bit, any of the UK Christmas customs? Like, have you done like the Christmas, what is it, the crackers, those things you pull open and the crowns and any of that kind of stuff?
No, because this is our first UK Christmas where we're going to be really in town, and this is the first sort of normal quote unquote UK Christmas because everything else has been locked indoors.
That's true. That's very true. Like, you're not exactly having visitors over.
Right. So, but we're but looking forward to learning all that stuff. But we have really been very strict about our money laundering policies, though, here at Christmas.
Well, if you don't pull something open and put a crown on it, doesn't count. So,
okay,
yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
But no, we're going to go to the Nutcracker at the Royal Albert Hall, and we're doing a bunch of that stuff. And we're gonna do like Claridge's and whatever, and
very nice. A little high tea and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you're having snow right now, right? It's snowing or just snowed. Yeah.
We had on Sunday evening. We had a really nice like Christmas snow where it's big and chunky flakes, and they all settle on the trees, and you get that beautiful landscape.
That's nice,
and all of that. And it's kind of amazing. So it was not. We built snowmen the next day and had snowball fights with the kids. It's all gone now because it was only a couple inches.
Global warming. It was 90 degrees today, but
it was yes. But no,
well,
it was lovely. Are you doing anything for Christmas? Or are you staying
put? Here for Christmas? By the way, LA is freezing, like really honestly cold.
Cool.
Like into high 40s cold. Like we've got the heat on cold, which is just, I don't know.
On the news, are they freaking out because the avocados are dying? That's always my favorite part of Christmas of cold winter in LA is when it hits a certain temperature, a totally reasonable temperature for anybody else that has winter anywhere, and the avocados start dying, and everybody starts freaking out.
No, it's sort of like, what do we lead with tonight? Avocado or car chase? Yeah. No, it's all good, and then we're gonna head east for a little bit, but no, nothing too elaborate. But looking forward to a little break. Well, I've got the first piece of stuff that I found laying around, which is Julian's auction catalog. They've got a big auction coming up this weekend, I guess. So technically, by the time you're all hearing this, it'll be after the fact.
Just after,
Which is fine because they're not paying us for advertising, so that's okay.
That's right. Screw them.
Yeah. But if they're interested, Julian's, you want to, come this way, we'll happily go through your catalogs and stuff way in advance. But I'm just saying.
Did they issue a physical singing catalog?
No singing. I got another thick catalog. This one came with 3. There was a giant thick Richard Chamberlain, his family, his collection, Shogun and stuff. The Thornbirds and a bunch of stuff. By the way, he played Jason Bourne in a CBS Jason Bourne Identity.
Really?
I think they made 2 or 3 either miniseries or TV movies. I think they were miniseries. I don't know. I think they were shot in Hong Kong. That's what passed for
that time.
international. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I had no
So
idea that even existed. That's
yeah,
amazing. Because
his
I guess
stuff.
the Bourne books are from the 70s.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I want to say, and I didn't look at the date, but based on where it fits in my memory, I'm going to guess 82, 83, 84. That's would be my guess of when
For the
this thing
series.
existed. For
Yeah.
whenever
Okay.
this Richard Chamberlain thing was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, not much of anything. Nothing from the Three Musketeers or the Four Musketeers. I think they had something from a little something from the Return of the Musketeers, like his script, but he kept other, costumes and things. He kept a lot of Shogun stuff, which I guess makes sense. That was
Oh, that's
a
cool.
kind of a phenomenon at the time. But a big thick catalog of that, a big thick catalog of music stuff, including the collection of what's her name that just passed away from Rumors, Fleetwood Mac, who
Oh,
just
yeah.
passed away. It was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
her lifelong, like all of her stuff,
One of the
and
Macs.
Christy McVie,
Yeah.
and all her stuff. And then a couple of big catalogs. I think we mentioned a little bit during our Academy Awards show. We talked a little bit about some of the Edith Head Vertigo Hitchcock pieces, and
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
marked I marked a couple. There's 2 Rear Windows and 3 Vertigos that I've sort of
Oh, okay.
marked, and
Cool.
I'm
Yeah.
very much thinking, yeah,
We should talk
obviously you and
offline.
I should talk,
Yeah.
but we can also talk online. I'm thinking very much about the the Vertigo gray suit dress has been sort of where
Oh, cool.
I
Yeah.
think
That's cool.
I'm leaning.
Yeah. I would lean
Um,
Rear Window. So that's a good
and I
place.
like the Rear Window stuff. I don't know. I remember the outfits a little more, so I'm leaning towards
Sure.
the Vertigo. There are
Yeah.
other outfits from Rear Window that I do remember. It's just not those drawings, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense. So I thought that was kind of cool. Um, Odds and ends, there's and I have to do I'm trying to do a little bit of research, although it does. I saw one thing that did look like a match. Robert De Niro's Raging Bull shorts and
I
gloves
saw that.
from
Yeah.
Raging Bull,
That's so
which a
cool.
movie
Yeah.
I love. I'm not quite sure what the hell I would do with that, but I did love it. Uh, a business card from
It's funny
Recall. Oh,
when I get to those, like, sort of, because look, we're obviously, look behind me, we're both
yeah.
giant children, but we are like serious movie fans, and we like serious movies like Rear Window and Vertigo and Raging Bull. It's just I rarely I have posters from those things, but
Yes,
I don't
I look at it
collect
and
for
I
them.
think about it, and then I don't buy the Raging
I,
Bull thing because luckily there's an Ewok flute. You know what
yeah,
I
that's
mean?
right. That's right.
I'm a fucking idiot.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm a child, it's funny because I look at those things and I'd be like, that would be awesome to have, but then I would need a whole different collection, like a serious collection room where, like, these are serious items from serious films, and like another, I could be a different collector, and I could take myself more seriously, and have a smoking jacket and brandy glasses, and then I'm like, no, I'm gonna buy Batman's belt.
I don't blame you. I have
Yeah.
no comment except yes.
So you're gonna make the Ryan move on this, where you dog ear the catalog, you look at this thing, and then you never bid
I'm
on
looking at it. I wrote it down. I'll probably ask to phone bid and then just go, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just listen.
Yeah.
And I'll
When's
watch the
Captain
rest of it.
America Shield coming
Yeah.
up?
But a Total Recall business card that I thought was interesting.
That's
although
cool.
I don't think you actually see it in the movie. I mean, maybe it's I don't. There's no.
Is it for
close-up.
Recall?
Yes, it's the.
That's
he
cool.
gives it to him. He said, "Remember, it's I think the construction workers, like,
Yeah,
or
okay.
someone tells him, and then he's like, no, don't go there. My uncle got his head scrambled. It's been a while, but anyway, I thought that was interesting.
So you probably see it pass in screen, but you don't see it close enough to see the details of it.
Although it definitely looks like something. Nobody made this. This isn't like it's a no one did this except for a movie. You know what I mean?
Movie,
like it does. There's a reality to it. At least in my mind. I did peek. There's a father's sword. I don't know if you peeked at that one.
I did.
Yeah, I thought that was.
I did look at that. Well, no, the father's sword is in.
No, I thought this was the father's sword, and Heritage has
other way around.
Other one. Oh, did I flip them? Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. So there's a Conan sword in there's an Atlantean in Julian's, which me looking at it again, just me looking at it, I think is a destroyer sword, just based on the size, shape, casting of the sword. The tell on the destroyer swords is that there's always a much longer handle. They remade the sword for destroyer, and it's almost
you're
like
talking about just that part, the hand, the part that's the handle. Yes,
where the hands
when you say handle, you mean the handle?
Correct.
Okay,
perfect. I understand technical sword terms are difficult for some people to follow.
At gmail.com.
But if you look at the barbarian Atlantean, it's almost like Arnold can't quite get his two hands around it. It's almost like they would call a bastard sword a hand and a half.
Gotcha. So they lengthened it a little bit.
It becomes a proper. I think the whole thing actually gets bigger, but the easiest thing to see is, can you get more than two hands on that handle? And if you can, that's usually a destroyer sword.
Gotcha.
Again, in my non-expert opinion, just casual observing from the outside, that looks like a 1984 Conan the Destroyer one.
Okay,
but always cool.
So the Atlantean, the father's sword is in the Heritage auction,
which looks very cool to me.
Yes,
and I was asked by another Conan enthusiast to take a look at it. I did, not having handled it. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I've only ever seen one of those before, which you actually owned at some point, which was a lovely example. We know it was real. It had a great story because it came right from Jody Sampson. It's really cool. I have the hero. It's awesome. Yeah. You see a lot fewer of those around, and the nice thing about that particular sword is it's not in destroyer. So if you
they
see
didn't
one,
make another. Yeah,
you know that it's barbarian, and it struck me as a bit clean, but not in a way that felt like it was a casting after the fact or anything like that. It's just the one that you had was much more sort of
properly nicked up, so to speak,
and used. But you're also doing is that because it's 40 years old and this person, was this put in a better storage and doing all that. But I think that's a lovely piece, and the handle wrap is still intact, and it's really super cool, as they would say.
Sure.
Yeah.
Really, really nice. And then the stuff that I guess I'm sort of building towards my most sort of whatever, circled, dog-eared or whatnot. One that I'm sure you have on your list, and then maybe one that you don't. Oddly enough, Curtis Armstrong, Booger, I guess, from the Revenge of the Nerds movies, has put a couple of things in from his personal collection.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And he is putting in his Charles de Gaulle hat, his top hat from Better Off Dead. And that is a movie of which I've not seen much from.
Yeah.
And
it's
not... I like his character. It's not my dream piece from Better Off Dead, but where are you going to find a Better Off Dead piece?
But classic.
I do love it. So that's something I'll at least, I'm sure, chase a little bit. And then the ET stuff is incredible.
The ET stuff. Yeah, I was going to go to the ET stuff. Edith had the ET stuff was most interested me.
I believe they've got it. Sorry, I was just going to say, I think they've got it all on exhibit here in LA, this weekend. And I'm going to go over to look. I'll snap some pictures for everyone. The robot, the robotic body is incredible. The maquette is incredible.
Yeah,
those numbers are just going to be insane. I mean, talking about the Academy Museum, boy, to talk about something that belongs in the Academy Museum.
Yeah, I mean, particularly the armature, you'd think that would be a centerpiece to the eventual Steven Spielberg room or the 1980s room or whatever. I mean, it's so important as for what it is. I mean, the number is huge. I think it starts at 2 million. It feels like
2 to 4,
2 to 3. Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh,
I mean, whatever. I mean, it's very high, and I think that's where it probably should. I mean, come on, people.
It's not an X-wing. Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Stupid. But it I don't know. It feels like it should end up there, but you question how much action there's going to be at that level. But they know what they're doing.
But by the way, I don't know. If I'm Steven Spielberg, I buy it. I don't know. I put it in my archives, or I buy it for the museum. I don't know. It's pretty incredible. But there are these drawings that they have, and there's about 6 lots of drawings of various.
Yeah, those are
I don't
really
even know how
cool.
to describe it. Skeletal body and face studies.
They're it's oddly sort of the
They're like almost
schematic,
like
I guess.
turnarounds. They're almost like
Yeah.
animation turnarounds, but then there's ones that are more measurement-y and schematically. So they definitely
Yeah.
serve different purposes. There's one that's facial expressions. There's one that's sort of, different side views. I thought, like, I don't know, there were like 6 of them, and I liked 5 of the 6. I would take any one of those.
Yeah.
Um, and again, the estimate's like 10 to 20, and I'm thinking they're going to
Healthy.
go higher. Yeah, but I'd like to get one. I'd be a happy
Yeah.
guy with one of those. So we'll see what
Yeah.
happens. Yeah.
Does the maquette interest you at all? Because that one really stuck out to me. But again, the number is it's very cool, but the number is very high for something that's not
Yeah.
used in the
I mean,
film. Yeah.
right. I thought it was really neat. I really did, but I don't know enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did like it. I think I can be happy with a drawing though. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I
Was
mean,
there
I wouldn't be
anything? Oh,
surprised
go
that
ahead.
a bunch of collectors go go to the drawings
Yeah.
just because it is a nice,
Yes.
and there's some truly gorgeous ones. And I think all of them, the nice thing is there are ones that I think are more visually attractive than others, but all of them speak to the making of ET, which I think any one that you get just as a collector, it speaks very specifically to the making of ET. It feels from the period. You can see the design going on and the the sort of the making of process of the film and all of those, which I think makes them very cool.
And I guess this truly does speak to the design that they, ultimately came up with, which is there's just a lot of joy in the creature they designed.
Yeah.
It's just working on so many levels that it's just kind of great. And I don't know, that comes through. It comes through in the eyes, in the armature. You can see it in the maquette, and you can see it in the drawings. I just really, I don't know. It hit a.
Yeah.
I saw that movie at our 4th grade graduation party,
Oh,
and
that's
it
awesome.
just, that it's a
Seared on your
good
memory.
memory, and it's
Yeah.
and it's just really really good.
It's the perfect time to see that.
Yeah,
To see that movie in
we'll see.
fourth
Yeah.
grade. I mean, yeah.
Oh, it was spot on. Yeah, really good age.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm
Anything
looking at
else in Julian's that caught your eye, or
I
anything
was
that was
just
hitting you?
looking here because I flagged a bunch of things. I mean, sort of, not as big as the things that we've talked about, but this is a piece that has been around, but I've always really liked because I think it's cool. Is the landing leg from the
Oh,
Nostromo?
yes, yes.
So it's the miniature landing leg that I think they use for a very specific shot where you just see the leg in the frame because it's supposed to show you this giant scale of this enormous ship, and it's just to me it's very cool. It's like an alien collection kind of all in one piece because it's a studio miniature. You know what it is. It's in the movie. If anybody has an alien collection or wants an alien collection, it seems like I've toyed with the idea of that piece before. I don't think I need it given the other alien things that I have, but I've always liked that piece in particular.
Yeah, it would also look great, like if you, I don't know, put your display like on a top shelf, so that like maybe if it
Yeah,
has a lip, like the part would get cut off as if you were looking at a shelf and it was just the bottom of a ship that's not there. That would
like
look
the
very
frame.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I mean everything there was a bunch of cool Marvel pieces in there and look, I don't collect those things, but they're always cool to see and that I
I
think
believe there's a screen matched cap shield, which looked really nice and had a
right.
nice screen match. And then there's, I don't know, there's so many of those Thor 2 hammers that it's not, I don't know anything. I'm done with Thor 2. I don't know what else to say. There's just,
Yeah.
I would need such a screen match to think about a Thor 2 hammer. There's just, by my count, I've counted like, 68 of them. I mean, it's insane. Yeah. I mean, unless it's just the same one that everyone just keeps trading around and offering because Thor
Like the
2
hammer,
is
you
pretty
throw
terrible.
it into auction and it just comes right back to you.
Right. And people go, Thor 2. Ugh.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Um,
But too many Thor 2s. So yeah. Anything else hitting you in
too
there?
many hammers? Not really. I mean, we always hit this point of the year where it's very exciting for a while, and then it becomes this like glut of auctions. And I think in going through both of those catalogs, there's definitely interesting stuff, but also like especially with the T2 jacket kind of coming late in the day, it's sort of like I've acquired a good bit this year. I'm satisfied with my 2022 acquisitions. I actually don't know how active I'm going to be in either of those auctions. There are interesting things, but I think I'm probably set for the year. I might have a different sort of feeling about the ET things on the day, and see how I feel when I wake up on
I will just
Saturday.
honestly say I am truly fearful that those ET things, and we'll come
You're
back
gonna
and
go
sort of
nuts.
talk about what happened. I think they're
Yeah.
going to go insane. I think they're going to go insane. And I don't necessarily know if it's because one guy buys them all up or Spielberg buys them all up, or just everybody just is like, I want a piece of that. And that's that.
And the first one goes crazy because everybody goes in on it, and then there's this feeding frenzy. Oh, the God, they're all going to go
Right.
crazy. Yeah, you just don't know.
So that does seem like it's going to go nuts. The Heritage one was sort of interesting
There's a
too.
bunch of cool
You know,
stuff
another,
in
yeah,
Heritage. Yeah,
really kind of interesting, and again, things both, big name stuff as always, but also, some interesting deep dive pieces, things that this definitely, I don't know, it's like nothing ever has a name on it, but I have some suspicions, it's
the
sort of,
source.
I don't know. Yeah, I
Yeah,
just imagine a restaurant, if you might, that had like a lot of props in it. I don't know. I
yeah,
don't know I don't know what you'd call it, but if that place did exist,
like a
I you
galaxy of
know
entertainment.
yeah, at Galaxy Entertainment, or I don't know, Cinematic Nebula. I don't know, some
Yeah,
kind of something. I don't know. Anyway,
yeah,
um, but just a really fun range of
but in a
stuff.
good
And
way, I
again,
think.
yes,
Yeah,
but it's rare that you
yeah,
get to see an auction that has, like, I don't know, like Ramirez's, peacock outfit from Highlander,
yeah, which is
and
super
Ferris
cool.
Bueller Days Off sort of leopard
The
print vest. You know what I
and the
mean? Like,
Ferrari,
yeah,
Dave.
and
Yeah,
the Ferrari. That's true, and the Ferrari. Uh, so a bunch of things just in there that did, I don't know, just kind of hit me in a kind of a cool way. And of course, I did, as always, mark things that it's like, and then won't buy, like the Citizen Kane,
yeah,
like tuxedo jacket, and the Dick Van Dyke Mary Poppins like
yeah.
blazer.
That's
Both
really cool. Yeah,
both marked, but I will not. Both marked. I'll think a lot about and then not do anything with. You know what I mean? But
too classy
yeah,
for me, but yeah.
yeah, way too classy.
Right, the Ewok flute is much more fits in my style.
Yes,
Um,
exactly. I really did try and not mark the Ewok stuff. I really went out of my way to not do that. Um, the
the thing
things
that
that were
stands
hitting
out to me,
me. Oh, go for it.
well,
Yeah.
the first the biggest thing I think in their auction by just by price is the hourglass from Wizard of Oz,
So amazing. And they
which
did
is so
a
cool.
sort of, I don't know if you've gotten it in your mail yet. They did like a sort of a separate little
They
mini,
did, yeah, the whole
they did
pamphlet
a,
on it.
yeah,
Yeah,
catalog. Yeah, exactly. Which, I get rid of the big catalogs, but those, like the little ones, I keep. It's
yeah,
just a really fun little
yeah.
piece, yeah. And weirdly, it also plays The Gambler when you open it. I don't quite know why, but
That's just
yeah.
because that's what you hear seared in your brain now every time you open an auction catalog.
Any catalog, yeah. I mean, that is again, talk about Academy pieces, and again, as we know, probably takes somebody to buy it for the Academy, but that is, could you imagine if they put that next to their ruby slippers? What that would be like? I mean,
Oh, incredible!
that's like
Yeah,
a level of collecting that just doesn't even seem mortal. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, it's
yeah.
beyond the mortal ken. It
Yeah,
just
yeah, and
doesn't.
they have a
Yeah.
Dorothy dress, I think too. I mean, you could really, I mean, just epic. I mean, for an 80-year-old now, 80-plus-year-old film. I mean, just and how important that movie is, just incredible.
Support for The Stuff Dreams Are Made Of is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code PROPSPODCAST. That's PROPSPODCAST, all caps, at manscaped.com. And if my math is correct, that's 12 million balls, or I guess counting that friend of mine, 11,999,999, because he got hit there when we were like 10 years old. But anyway, that's still a lot of balls.
As 2022 is winding down, we thought we'd take a look ahead at some of the things that Prop Store has an offer for 2023. The first thing you'll notice is more frequent multi-consigner entertainment memorabilia auctions. Prop Store heard your feedback for more frequent but slightly smaller auctions throughout the year. This year, for the first time, Prop Store will be hosting a winter entertainment memorabilia online auction out of Los Angeles in the first quarter of 2023. That will be in addition to the summer and fall live auctions you've come to expect from Prop Store. Consignments are currently being accepted through January 18th, 2023 for this upcoming auction at consign@propstore.com. You'll also notice more frequent poster auctions. You can expect one approximately each quarter, rotating between Prop Store's Los Angeles and London locations. The next London online poster auction will run from February 2nd to March 2nd, 2023, and will be followed up by a big Los Angeles online poster auction in the late spring. Prop Store also has a host of different studio auctions throughout the year. First off, Prop Store is hosting its final Marvel Television online auction from January 12th to the 26th, 2023. In this auction, they'll be offering over 500 lots from all 6 television shows in Marvel Defenders saga. That includes items from Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, The Defenders, and The Punisher. Later in the year, you can expect a host of different exciting studio auctions, including some that will raise funds for some very deserving charities. Finally, you'll see Prop Store continue to expand some new areas of entertainment collectibles. This summer, Prop Store will host its first ever animation auction from the foundation of famed Hanna-Barbera animator and creator of Scooby-Doo, Iwo Takamoto. So look forward to a lot of fun and different entertainment auctions in 2023 from Prop Store. And sadly, Prop Store's Season 4, The Stuff Dreams Are Made Of Favorite Host Contest is coming to an end at the close of 2022. In order to participate, make any buy now purchase from propstore.com using the discount codes Dave10 or Ryan10. That will give you 10% off your entire buy now order, and you'll be placing your vote for your favorite podcast host, me, at the same time. One random listener who uses the code will be selected to be a guest on the final episode of this season's podcast and explain why they voted for Ryan as their favorite host. So go to propstore.com before December 25th, 2022. That's Christmas for the people in the back row, to cast your vote and save on a unique gift for a loved one or for yourself. Other things, definitely the Dick Van Dyke jacket stuck out. I mean, that's just such a fantastic piece and so recognizable. The striped jacket.
Yeah, I mean, great piece, great
movie.
Character from a great set piece. You know, from the Jolly Holiday jump into the animation, of which, oddly enough, you know that the movie about the making of Mary Poppins. You know the one I'm talking about, where it was about the author.
Finding Mr. Banks.
Tom Hanks is Walt Disney. What'd you say? Sorry.
Finding Mr. Banks, right?
Yes, Finding Mr. Banks. I always laugh now because I now cannot think of that Jolly Holiday sequence without like the sort of the plot point in there where she discovers that they're going to be animated penguins and loses her shit. Like, I don't know, she thought they'd be real penguins.
Real dancing
I don't know.
penguin.
I'm assuming that's real, but I do love that. I don't know why. I always think of that moment
penguins.
in that movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Becky and I saw that movie. Sorry, Becky and I saw Saving Mr. Banks on New Year's, like, I don't know, like whenever that was, 6 or 7, 8 years ago. We were in New York City. We had a later New Year's dinner reservation, so we went to see an early Saving Mr. Banks. My kids were with my folks, and we went to this theater on the East Side. And we saw it, and I believe we were the only people in that movie theater that didn't bring our own oxygen tanks, because everybody in that theater was there for the 6 o'clock New Year's Eve Saving Mr. Banks. They were like 100, 200 years old. So that's finished, another fond memory.
They had finished.
They'd eaten already. They'd eaten at 4,
ago.
And then they came for the 6 o'clock late show, and then headed
perfect.
home. So yeah,
you and Becky were 2 of the few survivors of that screening.
They stopped many times for the ambulance to come in and out. There's a Get Smart shoe that, again, I remember from a couple of a few auctions back. I do always love it, and it's pretty darn neat. A couple of neat pieces from another favorite of mine, Marathon Man. They've got a couple of pieces. Again, these are, I think, from a couple auctions back, assuming, I don't know whether they sold, didn't sell, whatever, but they are again.
Actually, interesting for collectors of physical media, they just announced that Marathon Man, they're doing a 4K disc release in
4K,
2023.
Nice.
Yeah, so which is just,
the other big 4K
again,
news, and we never specifically talk about this, the Superman movies are going to be coming out in 4K finally. The Chris Reeve, the original ones, which I was very excited about, especially to get the first two. So that was kind of neat.
And
4K.
the Quest for Peace.
Can I tell you something else I did recently that it just sort of falls under the category of stuff? Gene Hackman did an autograph signing. He's retired, but he's been doing periodic autograph signings. And I just went, and I had gotten an email, and they were pushing. They had like a whole bunch of the kids from the Hickory team in Hoosiers. So they had a bunch of those guys that played the basketball team. And I do like that movie a lot, but I didn't care. But I just went, fuck it. And I got myself a Conversation autograph, and I got myself a Lex Luthor autograph. And I just went, fuck it, it's Gene Hackman.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And I'm not an autograph
Popeye Doyle
guy, but it was just like, I went back and forth, and at the end of the day, I went Conversation over French Connection. And then Lex Luthor, greatest criminal mind of the 20th century. And I just, they showed up this week, and I'm really happy. No,
you didn't.
It was
you didn't go. You sent in.
I don't think there. I don't even think there is. I don't even think it's not like he's going to a show and you can order. I think he just periodically does this once a year. I don't know. I like to think of it as like, it probably like, I don't even know what he does with the money. I love that Gene Hackman just wants to sign autographs and whatever, but I don't know, Gene Hackman, I don't know, just like, So
he uses it to
those showed up this week.
Pieces at auction at Bonhams and take advantage of the currency exchange.
The currency, he plays the two ends.
He buys
against
the
middle. Yeah.
He does it the right way, not the way you did it.
No, not my asshole way. But I am really excited about that, and that showed up this week, and
that's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, I don't pull.
So
those
are they
kinds of
photos
triggers,
or posters or what? I mean, what are you signing?
I did like a poster for the Conversation.
Yep.
And then I did a Lex Luthor still, like a nice like oversized still. So
great.
Yeah,
oh, cool.
Very excited.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, I'm going through Heritage here. I mean, there's a hoverboard, super cool, super interesting. There's a nice one of those Kirk the wraparound style tunics is in there, which is very cool.
Really nice condition. Always interested to see how the classic Trek does, just in the grand scheme of, I hate to say, markets, just like what the appetite for that stuff is. Which, by the way, loops me around back to, we've talked about it before. I popped into Heritage last week to take pictures of one of the items, which we'll talk about in a second. But I sort of, I figured while I was there, I extended an invitation, so we're hoping that we'll have someone from there on, but also just to sort of talk a little bit about the Greg Jean auction. And obviously nothing is scheduled and nothing is set, whatever. But it sounds like they're working on it. So
did you learn anything?
Star Trek to come? No, I learned absolutely nothing. I learned absolutely
playing
nothing.
It close to the vest.
The one thing I didn't learn, but is my own hypothesis, if I may, Greg Jean collected comic art, and he had a piece to Dave Stevens' Rocketeer, one of the pages from the original Rocketeer, which we found out years ago because when Kelvin Mao and I helped the Stevens family and IDW put out the first when Dave died, the Rocketeer had been out of print for a very, very long time. And I don't know how else to say this, but in our last conversations together, Dave was a very good friend. He sort of asked me and Kelvin to kind of babysit the getting it back into print. That was his goal. And we paired up with IDW Publishing and Dave's family, his sister and his mom, who was alive at the time, and Scott Dunby, our friend at IDW, and we ended up helping get it back into print in multiple editions. So there was a regular edition, a deluxe edition, and it was the first artist edition, which was these books that Scott Dunby and IDW publish. He's the editor, where basically they're the same size as the original art, and they are the scans of the original art, and you can flip the pages of these color scans of the original art. And the beautiful thing about Dave's work was he'd only sold there were 6 pages missing from the first Rocketeer and a couple from the second. And then we kind of tracked down a bunch of them. And so when it was printed, and I'm sure I'm getting the numbers incorrect a little bit, there were still like 3 missing, and over the years we've tracked them down. I think we got them all, or there's one missing. I can't remember now. But anyway, somewhere along the line, we realized Greg Jean had one, and Scott was able to get a scan. So Greg Jean had a comic art collection, but I had no idea what it was or what it wasn't. There was just a December comic auction that looked like a single collector's auction, and in it was this Rocketeer page and some Star Trek art and a couple other things, and a
Oh,
lot
great.
of Silver Age DC stuff. And again, nobody's saying a word, but as I mark these words, I believe that was the Greg Jean comic art collection. So for
Got it.
those that
Okay.
are interested in that, a precursor, if his prop collection, which I have no doubt is 80 times even better than his comic art collection, but his comic art collection was fucking great. And
Oh,
that Dave
cool. Okay.
Stevens piece sold for a bunch. But anyway,
But
so
was
again,
that
I didn't
of interest to
divine any
you?
of this, but that's my own detective work. So I think I'm right. Sorry.
So was that of interest to you, that Rocketeer piece,
I
or?
have a lovely piece from the Rocketeer. I have a couple of lovely pieces from the Rocketeer. One that I bought from Dave years and years ago, and another piece that had belonged to the writer Harlan Ellison
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that Dave had given him as a birthday gift many years ago. Excuse me.
Yeah, his auction just sold. His collection just sold recently. But
Yes,
this was predated that, I imagine.
predated this one when I believe when he was still with us, and I think it's been a while. And so I felt pretty good about the Rocketeer. You know what I have in my collection. I did watch it because again, I figured, well, if no one cares, I'm interested. But it went
Right.
cuckoo. It went for over $30,000, which
Yeah,
was just
yeah,
incredible. And it's a gorgeous page. I mean, the Rocketeer's in every panel, just jam full of action.
yeah.
He's fighting and everything. It's a great page. But like I
Is that a
said,
record?
I think for a single, well, I don't know. There probably some pages with Betty have gone higher, but
Hmm.
for an all single Rocketeer page, no women on it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much a record.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, and like I said, I a little detective work, but I believe we got to see a Greg Jean collection, but it was not sold under the name Greg
Hmm.
Jean. That's
Interesting.
again my own 2 cents. That's
Well,
my yeah
that's a nice segue, because that's something to look forward to in 2023. I
yeah.
mean, what else, as we pull 2022 to a close here, Dave? What are you thinking about
Well, I will
in the new
talk. I'm going to go
year?
that for 1 second, but I do want to just
Yeah.
jump very quickly, just for the one thing I did go and see, and just tell people about, which I'm sure
Oh,
everyone knows
yeah.
about,
Sorry.
which
Yeah.
was no, not of course. It's just the Y-wing #1, which I'm sure people have read about.
Right.
It's sort of the master pattern that was used to make basically the Y-wings originally in Star Wars, and then they sort of pulled it out of retirement, out of its box, for the couple of Y-wings that they then needed for Jedi, for obviously that incredible sequence in Jedi where they just needed a lot of ships. And it came from the collection of Jeff Mann, who was longtime ILM guy, and I believe headed up ILM. Really good guy, wonderful artist in his own right. He does these amazing drawings of like the insect world and nature. He's a really talented guy and always wonderful.
Mhm.
And you can watch these videos of him talking about it. I went to go take pictures of it. It's really, again, it's not the screen used ship, if I'm making sense, but it is the pattern that they used to make the ships. And so wherever you have to think about where that fits in the grand scheme of what a screen used X-wing went for, et cetera, et cetera. But I did want to go see it.
But
I
a
really, yeah,
cool piece of the making
really cool. Yeah,
of a notable film.
yeah, really fun. So
Yeah.
that was really cool. Anyway, I wanted to
Yeah.
throw that in there. 2023. Look, now I get to depress myself. 2023 is going to start with finishing up my show, and as soon as White House Plumbers is done, which will hopefully be before the end of January, that's when I'm kind of going into the condo and going to figure out some stuff. I mean, there's no other
Yeah.
way of saying it. I'm going to solve those issues, and I'm going to, at the same time, I'm going to use that time to build a few more displays, sort of figure out some of that stuff. And I do think it's going to be an opportunity to go through, and I've talked about this, but I've sort of made it a resolution of I'm going to go through some of certainly my paperwork and my ephemera, and I'm going to thin that stuff out. And even a little bit of artwork. There's just too much of it. There's only so many Blue Harvest call sheets I need. Do you know what I mean? And I have a pack like this, and they're not doing me any. I mean, and again, I'm not saying I'm giving them away for a nickel. I'm just simply saying,
can I buy a Blue Harvest call sheet from you, Dave?
Yes. Are you okay though? Just sorry if this makes sense. I need you to send the money to Nigeria. They will then send you back a box, and in the box will be diamonds.
Okay.
Then you take the diamonds to Antwerp.
To Bonhams?
No, we're not even close to Bonhams.
We're not there yet? Okay.
No, you've got many more stops. But yeah, no.
Okay,
yes.
I'm in. I'm listening.
Yes, I will definitely hook you up with one of those.
Cool.
Oh shit,
Thank
that would
you.
have been a good Secret Santa gift. Fuck.
There you go.
Yeah.
I got you a wet dry vac.
Perfect. No, I was gonna say, are you interested in a trade for a big pile of? I know you only want one, but a nice pile of Blue Harvest call sheets, like a nice pile. Like there's probably like 50 of them in there.
Wow.
Can you steal me a Damon's helmet off the set, please? Just would that be okay?
We can talk about it. We can make it happen.
But I want real sweat. I want real.
Okay.
Yeah. I was, by the way, this is neither here nor there. I bumped
He doesn't sweat because of the wig. So.
Because he doesn't sweat because he's perfect.
He's perfect. Yeah.
I almost got you as a joke gift a pop toy of Damon autographed by Matt Smith at a comic convention. Just thought it would be very funny for that to be on your desk when he comes in one day to talk to you about something. And it's just like, why is that there?
I think I'm seeing him today, actually.
Uh-oh.
So,
well, then you can get your own pop toy signed.
Yeah.
There was a very funny moment when we did Veep Pop Toys, and they sent a bunch of them.
Oh, really?
And,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was nice. Obviously the non-costume characters are a little less fun. They did two variants of
giant-headed Selena Meyer. I think
big
that's
Selena, and they did a short haircut and a long haircut, and that was good. And they did Gary with the bag, and they did Jonah like in his blazer, but with his ID card, but they couldn't make him taller. Right? That's always I complained about this elsewhere. The Jonah, they don't have tall pops, and I wish they'd had a taller body, but they weren't going to make that just for
the extra side.
Yeah. And they made a Richard. That was nice. But we definitely,
that's cool.
We would kind of autograph them and, give them to charity and stuff. And it was funny because when they first showed up, Julia just literally sort of turned to me as the sort of house nerd and was just like, what's the point of these things? You know what I mean? Just like, and it was just very, and I was just like, well, you put them on your desk. I mean, I don't know what to say, I'm not sure what the point is, but
you look at a Raging Bull set of beautiful trunks and gloves, and then you don't buy that, and instead you buy 50 of these things.
Yeah, you buy a Robert De Niro Raging Bull pop toy with a big head. Yeah, exactly, and like doe eyes. Yeah, so but no,
they're great.
So
collectible.
So that's definitely. I mean, that's a big part of my. There's going to be a new inventory, a new insurance, and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I've been researching all sorts of like water alarms for floods and stuff. I know more about that than anyone should. But I'm going to take it a little. Not that I certainly haven't taken it seriously, but a reckoning is coming to the collection. But I do want to thin some of that stuff out.
Your call sheets are terrified.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
They should be. Their lives depend on it. But I do want to. I want to frame up call sheets for my call sheet wall because I do have that already going, and that's something that's actually at the regular house. And I've been playing with some of our renovation plans for the house, and I'm definitely now, looking into just how I can kind of at least do a little bit of, more some built-in displays and stuff for the house. But I do that. That's the biggie, is to, really come to terms with the state of my collection and kind of I just getting it under control a little bit, Yeah, it just
Good. Yeah.
the collection, Ryan, if this makes any sense. I don't know if you're familiar with House of the Dragon. The
Mm.
collection is sort of like a dragon, and it needs to be ridden and tamed. So there you go. Yeah.
You need dragon keepers and
Yes.
yes.
And a
And
pit. I need a dragon pit here at the house in the
many
basement
sheep.
with
Yeah.
lots of caves for them to go into to put stuff
Yeah.
in. But no, I have to get I do have to do it. I guess the good news, bad news of the good news, obviously nothing was hurt. Maybe the bad news, obviously it's a big pain in the ass. But the other good news is it's forcing me to deal with it, I guess, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that is something.
And
And
I know
so
you've
that
wanted
is
to do this for a long time, and it's sort of been daunted by the monumental size of the task.
yeah.
But I think this has motivated you. And I think that's really good. We should do, I don't know, we should do updates as we go along
I
in
feel
the
like
future season.
if I ever make any kind of a dent, I will proudly share that picture because that would just I would feel good about like sort of something accomplished. But
That'd be amazing.
I do think that's where a lot of my energy is going. And I do also think, and this kind of connects to it, is we've now lived with sort of in the sort of COVID, post-COVID world of the new price reality. You know what I mean? I don't
Yes.
know, that's we are deep in it. It hasn't been a blip. It's not a it's not a hiccup.
No.
We are in the new price reality. And in a world of this new price reality, I definitely do sort of want to, I don't know, update my want list. It's time for sort of an end of the year reality new want list of like,
Yeah.
what are the big pieces that I want to be looking for that I do want to seriously consider, and what are the pieces where sort of maybe it's time to just go, no, that ship has sailed. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what do I really want? Am I serious about a Superman suit? I'm not sure. I want to think about it because I've talked about it, and as the prices have gone like higher and higher, I don't pull that trigger. And certainly they ain't getting any cheaper. And then the question is if I really want it, time to make a plan. And so I will throw this to our audience as well. We'd love to send us, please, your prop New Year's resolutions. I would get a real
Oh
kick
yeah.
out of what are you thinking about or doing for your own collection. And it can be small. It can be about I'm going to get this piece restored this year. I'm going to get this into a frame, or just thoughts about your collection. But I would love to know like what your sort of resolutions are for your collection. But that's where my head is kind of going into 2023 is that's a little bit of sort of retrench and then use that to move forward, I guess. How about you? Any
Good.
thoughts as you head into
I
2023?
mean, yeah, I mean, we're, the next time you see this podcast, I will have my third and final case for the new office sitting behind me, gloriously represented. So certainly looking forward to that and kind of re sort of shuffling the
Yep.
collection, and I think gives me more space for the things that I have, which I think makes me able to more elegantly display them
Are you
until I
thinking of I
fill
know
them
you're going
up
to
again.
fill it up and buy. Are you
Yeah.
thinking of bringing over anything now that you have a little more room in this
No,
sort
I
of
think
new house? No.
I
So
think
you're
I'm
not
all
there's
done
nothing
with
you're
that.
missing enough to bring over at
No,
the moment. Yeah.
no, there was one piece that I brought over that I will talk about when I have it on display, but a small thing. But yeah, I think I'm kind of done, and then I'll just collect here and sort of move and shift because it really, I once that case is in, I've sort of hit capacity in this office, and we plan to be here for for years, so so I have to kind of make it work. But there are ways to do it, and clever reshifting, and thankfully with the slat wall shelving, it gives you a lot of flexibility. So I
So
think,
jealous.
yeah,
That's my real reunion, my real New Year's Eve. Uh, just to bring slat shelving to America. But
yeah.
anyway, yeah.
So it's just about getting I think getting what I have in situ. I have I sent the Terminator jacket off to a wonderful displays guy who builds custom displays out here for the prop community. He's working on that, so I'll have that probably behind me on a mannequin again the next time
I
you see me.
have to interrupt. I have an interesting, fun story that you know
Mhm.
a little piece of. So I talked about a couple of shows back. See, this is truly stuff, but I wanted to say this. This could have been what's new, but here you go anyway. But you're talking about the prop community out there in London. We got an email to the what's our email again?
dreamsaremadeofpodcast@gmail.com.
We got that's where you should send your New Year's prop resolutions. But we got an email about my discussion of the Millennium Falcon holochess table that I had gotten from the Force Awakens, from a prop guy who was working on that movie, and it sounds like he may go to be. It sounds like he's going to be working. It turns out in the Small World, possibly working on your season 2. But he knew exactly what it was, and he was sort of, interested. He sort of told us a little bit about it, and he sort of was talking about, I'd brought up the fact that you can't plug it in because it's got UK power, and he was sort of saying how most of them were made for people in the UK. It was all very interesting, a little nice history to it all. And then I wrote back and basically said, can you convert it to the American power grid? And he said, well, I can't, but here's the name of the other guy that did all the electronics work for all the props in the Force Awakens. And
Sparks McGinnis.
Yeah, there he was with an email, and I wrote to that guy, and I'm very hopeful. So that's
great.
Very exciting.
Nice little Stuff Dreams Are Made Of connection and hookup, and that's good. I would love to see that table all lit up.
I would like to get that turned on because I do think that would really be something. It would be just really really cool.
Awesome.
So
that's awesome. I've always loved that piece.
Anything else on your mind in terms of your resolutions a little bit?
Yeah, I think my collecting is getting more and more focused. I've always been a very focused collector. I just these last 2 auction catalogs, the most recent in December, a good example of there's definitely stuff that's in there that's interesting, but I'm really getting more and more disciplined as I go along, and I'm willing to dive in big when I see some, the jacket.
Sure.
But I just want to be really focused. Again, the prices have gotten to a level, and my collection's at a level.
Do you feel in whatever the theoretical want list in your head or on paper, you have definitely, and again, that's not to say there isn't another Aliens prop. That's not to say there isn't another piece of a Batman costume. Again, with that as a given, you have definitely crossed off some of your big movies.
Most of them, I would say. Yeah, most of them. So there are a couple of holes within the movies that I have things from, and then there are a couple of movie holes,
right?
That I would love to fill at some point, and we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Of course,
And look, I'm not just going to collect. I think that I have other interests. I have art interests and things like that. So there will always be stuff to keep me active, and I love having it displayed and to look at it. So we'll just see as the year unfolds and what happens and where it goes. And but yeah, I'm definitely I feel like I'm entering that sort of third act of my collecting. Who knows, maybe not at all, but
right.
It just feels like the things that really excite me enough to make me raise the paddle are getting fewer and farther between, because I have so much stuff, which is a good place to be. It's not like I'm losing interest. It's just for me to go for something, it has to get my blood up, and in a way that the stuff I already have does. Otherwise,
sure.
What's the point?
But there's an interesting irony, which is as the prices get crazier, so that you kind of are going, well, I only want to bid if it's very special, but the prices are getting so crazy that the special things are coming out of the woodwork, like the Blade Runner jacket, right. And so it's a funny thing of I don't want to bid unless it's great. Another auction with another Ayuga, eyes come out of your head, tongue rolls out, piece shows up and you raise the paddle, which is a sort of just a very funny, eating snake's tail. But it is, I think about that a lot. I think about it in all the aspects of my collecting, in terms of I've been very disciplined. I've only bought 2 pieces of comic art this year, but on the 2 I bought, I spent a fortune. You know what I mean?
And they're epic, I'm sure. Yeah,
and they are, but it's just a funny. I was really good. I only bought 2. Oh, by the way, the 2 were crazy. It's that thing, and that's prop world now.
But that's always the collector that I've been, and it's I used to literally get 1 piece a year. I would sort of save and be ready, and then the thing would come along, and I just jump on the thing. And now it's a few pieces, maybe. This year they hired a few pieces. but yeah, that's sort of the way the way it goes. And look, talking about future auctions, presuming this Greg Jean auction is in 2023, I'm very interested in that auction. We know a few things that he has.
To see what's going on.
We're excited to see what we didn't know that he had. There's definitely a big thing in that collection that I would love to bid on. I think it's gonna be pretty nuts, but we'll see. But yeah, definitely, I'm always excited for the future and what what that holds. And sometimes these little surprise auctions come along too, like the Adrian Biddle auction. So
right, who knew? Yeah,
stay tuned.
I know we want to wrap this up, but very quickly, any 2022 regrets? Anything that you think about the 2022? Anything that got away that you wish you'd done differently? I mean, you sort of, maybe the T2 would have been on that list, but you rectified that. Anything you think about?
Well, I regret outbidding myself on the T2 jacket. No, I mean, I'm very thrilled that went that way. No, I'm really, I mean, look, the Batty jacket was great. Ultimately, in the end, I have a great Blade Runner collection. I'm very happy with, and that was a nice to have, but it did not in any way define my my Blade Runner collection. And actually, in a way, the T2 jacket fits in much better, because now at some point when I have my grand collection room somewhere, I will have a T1 and a T2, and they'll be next to each other, and that's that film series, all in sort of one story there. But no, I'm very happy with how the year went. Looking forward to seeing what's new in the future. So should we play the game?
Is there a game? Is there a good game to play?
I was going to do a Christmas movie. I mean, I don't know that we've done this before, but so I would say, should we pick a specific movie and then just do that, or should we just do our favorite Christmas movie and then pick a piece from it? What do you think?
I don't know. I feel like I do like it. Well, the Christmas movie is a good sort of grand topic, so I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Christmas movie, but I'll know, you know what? Because then we're going to get into the whole Die Hard, whatever.
No,
exactly.
But I would say
let's pick
movie about Christmas.
Pick a Christmas movie.
Okay.
Can
we do A Christmas Story?
We can do A Christmas Story.
Do you like that movie? We never even really
it's funny. I appreciate that movie, but I am not of the cult, I guess.
Okay.
I think I don't. It's a funny thing where, I guess it was in the theater when I was a kid, and then I didn't like jump on it when it aired like 24 hours a day on TV.
So, that was my, because I was so young that's how I saw it. I think it's one of those generational things. So what is your favorite Christmas movie?
A movie that I do love for Christmas, although I don't think it's it's obviously, again, a little not traditional. I love The Ref with Dennis Leary. It's really a really funny dark movie, and Judy Davis kills me in that movie, and I guess obviously Kevin Spacey, who we're not allowed to talk about, but he's good in it too. Dennis Leary, really enjoyable in it, and there's some just really funny, just like brutality in the movie, and it's just that
real Dennis Leary
that
humor.
Against Christmas is just a very funny, just like that is really enjoyable. When I was a kid, I used to love watching. I loved all the Rankin and Bass stuff. That was a biggie. I mean, I don't know if we can call those movies, but I loved the original Miracle on 34th Street. The scene at the end when they come in and they dump all the mail. That was always, it would always air like on like Channel 11 in New York, and I
but you see, that's the 10 years between us is like that was your Christmas Story, and for me it was the TBS marathon.
It only aired once, and then there was other stuff on. It wasn't like, oh, we're just gonna put it on
24 hours of Christmas Story. Where you never see the opping of the movie and you only see the leg scene.
Just go, and then you go to watch Christmas Story and it's Shawshank Redemption. By the way, there's a Shawshank Redemption, like there's like Maine State Trooper badges and a Shawshank Redemption prison guard patch, I think, in the Heritage auction, which I thought was kind of fun, if not too expensive. Anyway, sorry.
At some point, I will have to tell you. Maybe we can save this for a future podcast, but I have to tell you my Dennis Leary story. I got roasted by Dennis Leary on stage at a panel in a very like funny, charming sort of horrifying collapse into myself way, but not in a mean way. Just in a sort of I was on a panel that I didn't really belong on. and was put on and shouldn't have been there, and was with like this Mount Rushmore of TV people, and I did not belong there at all. And he just like, he delighted in the fact that I was feeling very mousy and did not want to be there, and like took this, like he found out I was an accountant in my previous life and just like went with it. It was him and Peter Tolan, and it was
that's really funny.
It's on the internet. If you do some deep Googling, you can find it. And you're a fucking accountant, wait, new panel. And it was this whole, he took over from the moderator, just became this whole thing. I mean, it was sort of delightful. I mean, it's, that goes on my my list of life achievements. But yeah, it was amazing. It was the panel was about 2000, basically 9/11 and its effect on television. And I figured that I was on the panel because Colony was a show about, this sea change event that happened, and there was life before the invasion and life after. And I get on the panel and I realize like everybody else, it was like Howard Gordon and Dennis Leary and Peter Tolan.
It was there about, everyone else there was about terrorism and dead firemen.
No. It was about like they were making television in 2001 when 9/11 happened.
When it actually happened. Oh, wow.
And how did your life change? And Leary's telling this story about like he used to play, he used to ice skate with all the firemen in New York, and they had to convert the ice rink that they played on into a morgue, and those firemen were brought in. Deeply depressing, but also, and it came around to me, and I was like, I was 7 years away from breaking into the WGA, and I was an accountant at the time. And then it just became it. So this whole, and like, I did not belong. And Howard Gordon's losing his mind laughing because he 24 was shooting at the time, and they're like, do we even have a TV show? So they all have these great stories.
In the first episode of 24, like a plane exploded and they didn't know if they should air it or not.
Yeah, and they're like, it's a show about terrorism. Do we have a show? And they ended up obviously rewriting, and they went with it and became a big thing. I was literally like 21 years old and 7 years away from ever, even getting paid as a writer. So it just did not belong. But anyway, it's on the internet if you want to see a very uncomfortable Ryan Condal.
That sounds as good as the ref. So I like that. Yeah.
So this was a great 2022. I mean, it's a bit of a truncated season. We will be back. We need to record some episodes. It's become very tough with our schedules, but I think we'll get back into the rhythm of it. And looking forward.
Wait, we didn't play the game. We never. What did we pick? Pick something really quickly.
Sorry.
Chris, the shoes from Elf. The mailbags. Well,
pick. What do you want from the Miracle? What do you want for? What do you want from the?
You want the Santa costume or the mailbags would be cool. That would be kind of fun. Yeah.
I want. It's so cliche. I want the leg lamp. I mean, there's the Red Ryder shotgun, but I feel like that's just a thing in the box.
Store bought.
It's either the bunny suit. You got to go with the bunny suit or the leg lamp. I want the leg lamp. I want the.
What if I offered you the tongue prosthetic?
Good.
The tongue tip fake prosthetic
for Flick. Yeah. That's a good one. Or his essay about why he needs and his failing essay about. There's a lot of good.
The essay would actually be kind of fun because it would be in the the kid handwriting and whatnot. Yeah. That would be kind of neat. Have you watched
the Peking duck head from the end with the it's smiling at me.
Are you going to watch the sequel they made?
No.
With the grown-up Peter Billingsley? No, not even alone in your office in the middle of the night?
I'll glance at the reviews, and if they say, oh my God, you have to, what they unlocked, they achieved, then I will, but no.
What if the review is, it's harmless, it will occasionally put a smile on your face? Will you check it out?
Maybe
so
I'll put it on
they're sort of saying to you, it's not going to ruin the original.
Yeah, then fine. Okay. I'll watch some scenes until I get, bored or something. Yeah. So there you go.
We'll see everybody. And on that note, we will see everyone in 2023. Very exciting. The year we make contact.
And we're working very hard here on this. Not on this, but on.
Hey, we didn't really have a show, and we've got a solid hour 25 of nothing. This is what we do. I think it's really good. Yeah. This truly, you want to talk about like listening into one of our nonsensical conversations on the phone. This is what this was.
This is it. Yeah. I mean, this was a full experience.
This was, yes. Congratulations, everybody. You did it.
Yeah.
Follow us, subscribe, follow us on all the social media at Props Podcast. We're on
Watch
our
us
YouTube channel. Please subscribe. We're trying to get.
You can see us drinking coffee.
Follow us, subscribe. We need to get those numbers up. So please. And email us all your stuff.
dreamsaremadeofpodcast@gmail.com. We're going to do another mailbag episode next time around, so send in your questions or things you want to, topics you want to talk about, and we will
and coming in 2023, definitely clappers. I think we decided that.
Yep.
And you know what I think? I think we could do patches. We could do movie patches.
Great. Oh, I have
that could be very fun. Yeah, I have some good patches in my collection, and there's always fun patches. So I think we could. I think there's a patch show, which is kind of an interesting area of collecting. So the big patch show is coming up, as well as clappers. So yeah,
people can't wait. And we'll cover the Greg Jean collection whenever that comes around. More auction catalogs
and whatnot.
You know, all that stuff.
Yep.
Another deep dive, which we owe you guys. Although we did one on the Maltese Falcon, so but we certainly owe another deep dive. But yeah, we're looking forward to it, and we will be back. And happy Christmas, and happy Hanukkah, and happy New Year, and happy all the holidays.
Happy everything. Happy everything.
Just enjoy it, and we'll see you. We'll see you next time as we're taken out by the dusting of snow and jingle bells that our editor Bart is now filtering into the podcast.
You gotta know when to hold up.
My favorite Christmas song. All right, goodbye, everybody.